One of the easiest ways to put your Reddit account, your content, or your money at risk is to just assume that every single selling subreddit is safe just because it's giant. No, a large subreddit is not automatically a reputable subreddit, you guys. A busy subreddit is not automatically a safe subreddit. And just because you see other creators or buyers using a space does not mean that anybody has actually taken the time to look at how that space is being managed. So this video is going to be pretty important for everyone, whether you are a buyer or a creator. Either way, knowing how to spot a safe and reputable subreddit is incredibly important. There are selling subreddits that are built carefully, moderated, consistently, and structured around protecting their communities. And then there are subreddits that were thrown together very quickly and very sloppily with almost no real systems put in place. And those very poorly managed spaces tend to attract hot garbage, less reliable creators, less reliable buyers, scammers, catfish, unapproved users, even spam accounts, and all kinds of other problems that neither side of this chaotic little industry wants to deal with. Now, bad actors are going to exist in every single community. There is no perfect system that is going to remove every scammer or prevent every bad interaction. Honestly, there are only so many steps a moderation team can feasibly take. But we might as well stay in the spaces where those steps are actually being taken in the first place. So today, I want to walk you through some of the things that I personally looked for when I'm deciding whether a selling subreddit is safe enough for me to engage in and risk my account and my ass using. And this applies whether you are a creator looking for somewhere to advertise or if you are a buyer looking for creators to buy from. All right, let's dig into it. So the first thing I look at is the structure of the subreddit itself. So before you even start scrolling through the posts, look at who's running the community. Look at the moderation team. Okay? Did you just join a subreddit with 60,000, 600,000, 10,000 members and there's one moderator? That is a big red flag. That's a big red flag. I teach creators not to post or engage in selling subreddits that only have one moderator, especially when the subreddit has a huge number of members. It does not necessarily mean that the moderator is a bad person or that they don't care about their community or that they're a bad mod. They could be the most dedicated moderator in the world. They still physically, feasibly cannot do everything by themselves. One person cannot review every post, monitor every comment, investigate every scam. No one can do all of that. You want to find a subreddit with a strong moderation team. You want people who are active, paying attention, communicating with the community, and enforcing the subreddit standards. Okay, the exact number of moderators you should expect is going to depend on the size and activity level of the subreddit. But the point is that the team should make sense proportionately for the community they're trying to manage. A tiny subreddit might not need a huge team. A massive selling community absolutely needs more than one person attempting to hold everything together. The next thing you should look for in the subreddit structure is clearly written rules and policies. A safe, well-organized subreddit for buying and selling should always have its rules publicly and easily available. You should not have to guess what is allowed at all. You should not have to scroll through months and months of posts trying to piece together what the moderators expect when you post and their formatting and whatever. The rules should tell you very clearly. If you go to join a selling subreddit and there are no written rules at all, that should not just be a red flag. That is Matador. That is somehow the flag is neon and just glowing red, okay? Publicly available rules show that the moderation team has taken the time to create minimum standards for the community and done the bare minimum for their job and their responsibility. One example of a subreddit with clearly established rules is absolutely Fetish Want Ads. Their rules lay out expectations for both buyers and sellers, which helps everybody understand what is expected of them before they participate. And if you pop over to the Creator Spicy Tea Patreon or the subreddit, or if you pop over to the website on the resource library, creatorsspicytea.co, there is a full post breaking down all of those rules. Some subreddits will publish their enforcement procedures or explain what actions can lead to warnings, temporary bans, or permanent bans. Seeing those procedures is a really good sign, you guys, because it shows that the team has thought about what they plan to do, what standardized practices they have when someone violates the rules. Fetish Haven, beautiful example of this. Their wiki explains the ban actions used throughout their system of subreddits. That type of transparency matters. For creators, consistent rule enforcement can help protect your account. Let's talk about what happened in the summer of 2023 when a huge major promotional subreddit went down after moderators continuously failed to enforce their rules properly. People who had participated in the subreddit also lost their accounts. Didn't matter if they were breaking rules. Their account was gone just because they participated in that subreddit. This is why it's not just about whether you like a subreddit's rules, it's about whether the space is being managed in a way that protects the community and keeps the sub within Reddit's policies. I know creators think I'm not the person breaking the rules, so it doesn't fucking affect me. Unfortunately, yes, your monkey, yes, your circus. When you choose to participate in a poorly managed community, you are still connecting your account to that space. The sub becomes filled with policy violations, spam, or like real bad shit, right? The entire community may be placed under risk and penalized. For buyers, rule enforcement matters too. When a subreddit enforces its rules, it means the users who are still allowed to participate are more likely to be in good standing with the community. It does not guarantee that every creator is perfect. It really fucking doesn't. It also does not guarantee that every sale will go exactly as planned, but it does show that there is some level of accountability there. And if a creator is openly willing to violate rules in a public subreddit, it is not that far of a stretch to wonder whether that same kind of shady-ass behavior could show up privately during a sale. The next part of a subreddit structure I always look for is verification procedures. This is incredibly important for both buyers and sellers. I implore you, do not use a subreddit for buying and selling adult content if the subreddit does not verify the people who are selling said content. Okay? That's crazy. No platform would allow that. So why should a subreddit? A good verification system should require creators to provide enough proof for the moderation team to confirm that the person operating the account is the person shown in the content and is over the age of 18. So r/sex sells has a very detailed verification wiki that is just a shining example of what a well thought out, well structured verification process can look like. If the subreddit does not verify its sellers, how do you know whether the person posting those images is actually the person behind the account? And in this day and age, how do you know that that person is a person and not just numbers and pixels on a screen that was made with AI? You could be interacting with a catfish. You could be interacting with someone using stolen content. You could be interacting with someone who has taken another creator's images and is pretending to sell them. Verification does not guarantee that a creator will provide perfect service. I'm sorry, no. But it helps establish that the creator is at least the creator. And creators, I hear you. Verification is such a pain in the freaking batukas. I know it takes time, and I know some verification instructions are to the capitalization specific. You may need to write your username, the subreddit username, the date, a keyword. You may need to take several pictures from several angles. You may need to wait for the moderators to review everything, and then you may need to provide further information. You may need to get a third-party platform in which you're verified as an adult. It can feel tedious, but verification helps, keeps scammers, minors, catfish, stolen content accounts all out of the community. We don't want that here. So let's just verify it out. And even when you are doing everything correctly, you are the company you keep. Being surrounded by scamming accounts or potentially scammy accounts can make the entire subreddit look less trustworthy. And if you're in that subreddit, you're going to look less trustworthy. After checking out the verification process, the next place I hop over is the user flair system. So flair, I'm sure we all know over here, but just in case, flair is the small label that appears next to or underneath a Reddit username within specific communities. So different subreddits use this flair in different ways, but in most reputable selling subreddits, verified creators receive a flair showing that the moderation team has completed their verification. So buyers, you should be looking for this before reaching out to a seller. Ensure that they are verified. That doesn't mean you can simply trust someone because they write the word verified in like their profile or their post or anything like that. The subreddit itself will assign that flair. Some communities also use flair to show whether a seller has been reviewed, whether they are a regular user of the sub, or whether they have reached some other level of trust or verification status in the community. Fetish Buyers community is a shining example of this, you guys. It has a great flair system that gives buyers additional information about the people posting there. Again, let's get real. None of this is a goddamn guarantee. A verified person can still behave badly. A reviewed seller can still make a mistake, but each additional layer gives you more information than you would have in a completely unmoderated space. The next place we're hopping over to is the subreddit posting requirements. Reputable selling subreddits usually have rules about what can be posted and how those posts should be posted and what format. There may be limits on how frequently someone can advertise. There may be requirements for titles, images, descriptions, pricing info, etc. Some content might not be allowed. Certain words or types of requests might be prohibited. These requirements help prevent the subreddit from turning into a goddamn free-for-all. When every user can post anything they want as often as they want, the subreddit is a spam pit so fast. Legitimate posts get buried, buyers have difficulty finding reliable sellers, and creators who follow the rules are competing against accounts that are posting with 8 million bots. Good post requirements keep the community clean, organized, and more likely to stay within the platform's terms of service. So once you've looked at the structure of the subreddit, which was all that, then we're going to start paying attention to the actual activity inside of it. So the first thing we're going to watch for is spam. Spam can show up in a few different ways. You might see the same users posting the exact same images repeatedly. You might see one person posting like a billion different ads within 5 minutes. You might see low effort captions, whatever. Right? If you scroll through a community and a handful of people are flooding the feed, that tells you something about moderation. Either the subreddit does not have anti-spam rules, or the moderators are not enforcing the rules that they created. And we spoke about how incredibly important it is to make sure that a sub is following its own rules. Buyers, when you see a creator repeatedly spamming low-effort advertisements, I want you to pay attention to the amount of care being put in those posts. It's not impossible for someone to make great fucking content while having shit advertising habits. That happens. But if it's every single one, it might be fair to wonder whether that same level of effort may carry into their actual services. A well-managed subreddit should not allow a small group of users to completely overwhelm the community. Creators, spam is also a risk to your account. Spam behavior is heavily against Reddit's policies. Subreddits that repeatedly allow spam can become an unsafe place for us to advertise. Remember, we spoke about summer 2023. Even if you are not personally spamming, participating in a community known for that behavior can still make you look as though you didn't take the time to make sure you were within terms of service. It can also make your legitimate ads less effective because buyers are sorting through a wall of repetitive shit just to find you. The next thing you need to watch for is just blatant fucking platform policy violations, okay? If you join a sub or you go to join a sub and you just see violation, 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 do not engage. No. I'm going to link below Reddit's rules and its user agreement. And you need to read them. You need to understand the policies of any platform you are using for your business. That includes the social platforms. Buyers, a subreddit that openly allows platform violations, is showing you that the moderation team has checked the fuck out. And if the moderators don't care about what's happening publicly in their own community, you can guarantee they're not going to give a shit if something happens to you privately. There may be no recourse, there'll likely be no investigation, and there may be no meaningful action taken against the person responsible. Creators using these spaces can put your entire account at risk. It can also damage your reputation. Other creators, buyers, and mod teams, everyone sees where you're posting. Posting in spaces known for scams, spam, policy violations, etc. can make it look like you are willing to overlook unsafe behavior as long as you can chill. And that's not the reputation you want to be building. You're going to also need to look for signs of moderator activity. A subreddit can have 8 million moderators listed and still be effectively abandoned. So the number of names on the moderation list does not matter if none of them are active. Look for things like the pinned posts from the moderation team. Look for updates about rule changes. Look for safety reminders, scam warnings, verification announcements, community discussions, whatever. You might not see every action a moderation team takes because like 99.99% of the work is behind closed doors. Reports, bans, verification reviews, all that are not ever visible to all users. But when a moderation team is active, you can usually tell. I've had the opportunity to help moderate multiple teams with Fetish Want Ads, Sex Sells, Fetish Haven, the Fetish Playhouse, and let me tell ya, active moderation is fucking work. It's a lot of work. And I didn't even hardly do none of the work. I was more of a goddamn mascot/consultant. Those teams work constantly, often around the clock, reviewing posts, investigating reports, processing verifications, responding so much to keep their community safe. And it is often met with harassment and verbal assault. But it makes a noticeable difference. An active moderation team creates a safer environment for both buyers and sellers. Moderators cannot prevent every bad interaction, right? But they can remove known scammers, respond to reports, and enforce community standards. Beyond the basic structure and activity of a subreddit, there are some extra features that can show you a moderation team is taking shit seriously. One of those features is going to be a verified users list or a trusted sellers list. Many communities that verify their users maintain a publicly posted list of people who've completed the verification process. Some will also maintain a trusted or a higher level of verification list for creators who have a significantly positive history in the community. Fetish Buyers community has a trusted sellers list that is a great example of this. For buyers, these lists can give you a starting point whether you are looking to just start purchasing from someone. You still need to do your own research. You need to read any feedback you can find about them, investigate their profile, and then make your own decision. But a public list shows that the moderation team is keeping track of shit at least. Another valuable feature, if we're going to flip that on its head, is a public ban list. A public ban list shows that scamming and inappropriate behavior is not ignored. It is called out. The community is documenting the people who've been removed and in some cases explaining why that action was taken. Fetish Buyers community is another amazing spot that has a public ban list that is worth reviewing. When a subreddit makes this information available, it sends a clear message that harmful, shitty behavior will not be tolerated here. It also gives buyers a place to check usernames before starting a transaction. Now, not every reputable subreddit will have a public ban list. Some teams may handle that information privately, so the absence of a public list does not automatically mean the subreddit is unsafe. But when one is available and kept updated, it's a hugely useful resource. Creators should look for scam buyer reporting systems too. Buyer scam lists are less common, because their accounts come and go so fucking fast. But some selling communities do publish information or have communities to publish information about buyers who've been banned for scamming, chargebacks, harassment, whatever. Creator-only scam reporting communities will provide more additional information as well. Another feature I really like to see is a minimum account karma requirement or age requirement. Not every subreddit is going to have this, but after helping moderate too many communities for too long, I think it is an excellent safety measure. Some subreddits require users to have a minimum account age before they can post, others a minimum amount of karma. Some may use a combo of both. Safety is most often built through layers. Verification is a layer. Account requirements are a layer. Active moderation is a layer. Public rules, reporting systems, flair, ban procedures, those are all layers stacking on top of each other meant to protect us. All right? So when you're evaluating a selling subreddit, do not only look at one feature. I do also want to be very clear. A reputable subreddit does not guarantee risk-free transactions. Moderators are not standing by you during every private convo. They don't have control over what happens after you guys are in DMs. They can't force anyone to be on their best behavior. Buyers, you need to research creators before purchasing. Creators, you still need to screen your buyers, maintain boundaries, document transactions, and pay attention to warning signs. Creators need safe places to advertise. Buyers need safe places to find legitimate creators. Both groups benefit when moderation teams create strong rules, verify users, remove scammers, and enforce Reddit's policies. There's no perfect procedure for avoiding every bad actor in our community. They're there. They are there, and they are sneaky, and some of them have made an entire career out of fucking people over. But there are steps we can take to reduce the chances of interacting with them, and one of those steps is refusing to participate in selling subreddits that are not clearly being managed safely. Take a few minutes, research the community before you post or purchase or send anyone any money. Alrighty, y'all. Thanks for sitting on down with me. This was so fucking long, and I gardened before this, so this is gonna be fun to edit. Okay. Thank you for sitting on down with me. I hope you are safe, I hope you are sane, and I hope you are flourishing.